welcome back to Kalamazoo Social Media Week 2020, Day 2. Our first speaker of the day will be Tinashe Chiponda. Tinashe is the founder and CEO of Sasani Agency. He is a data-driven influencer whose marketing agency connects brands with creators for their campaigns. He has experience in growing a YouTube channel to over 30 million minutes of watch time and over 30,000 subscribers. Today, his session is going to focus on the strategies and tactics for building and maintaining an influencer marketing campaign for your brand. I know I'm excited for what he has to say, and I'm sure you are too. So without further ado, Tinashe, the floor is all yours.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a phenomenal morning here, and hope that the event's been going well and everything. And we're really excited to be walking you through this and definitely all the amazing topics that have been going on during this conference. So to get started, I just want to say Jacob kind of took the spotlight there for some of the things that I wanted to talk about, but we'll, be able to go through my intro a little faster and then get straight to it. So let me get my Zoom figured out. Oh, let's see here. Give me a second. How do I minimize this chat? So can you see this chat on my screen? I'm trying to get it off here. Give me a sec. Okay, there we go. Okay, so to get started, I figured I'll tell you just a little bit more in depth about myself and the journey that I took to better understand influencer marketing. Give me a sec. Chat. Morning. Okay, perfect. So let me get it going. So this. Hold on. How do I'm trying to. Hold on. It's not showing. Let me try again here. Okay, attempt number 2. Let's try this one more time. So I'm going to increase share screen. Boom, and and share. Perfect. Okay. So today we're going to focus on, this is for you if you're someone who's looking to increase your brand's reach, collect massive user-generated content, increase your website traffic, and gain new audience sets of data to your website, and of course, increasing your online sales. So a little bit about myself. So like what Jacob had talked about was essentially in 2018, I started a OK Tinashe brand, which essentially was a comedy influencer brand. And what we focused on and what I focused on was really creating comedy sketches and K-pop reaction channel. And through that experience, and essentially within 4 months, I was able to grow my YouTube channel to 24,000 subscribers, over 540,000 minutes of watch time with the 32 million, 540,000 hours, which equates to around 32 million minutes of watch time. And through that time, I was able to get 64 guests to come on to my YouTube channel. And really the goal of it was to bring on different people in Kalamazoo and really show them what the Korean market, what the Korean entertainment channel and media was all about. So through that, it essentially led me to understand what it really took to, build a channel. I was getting videos, as you can see here, that have 700,000 views. I was starting to understand what makes something go viral. Not only just understanding, okay, I'm just posting every day, but how does that relate with my audience? How does that connect with watch time? And just through that entire process, that led me into getting different sponsorships with companies such as Coco Foods International, Bloom Socks, Mandarin Gifts, actually in Kalamazoo Mall, and Plato's Closet. And this is one of the campaigns that I had done. So from doing all of this stuff, I ended up getting one of a campaign that I did with Plato's Closet during 2017 in the summer, in the winter for Christmas. And essentially they came to me and said, hey, we love how funny you are. We would love to do something for Christmas. And essentially, as you know, with Plato's Closet being a secondhand place, they came to me as a creator to say, what ideas do you have? So essentially through that, what we ended up creating was a 2-video series. And essentially the idea was this boyfriend who was super cheap, right? Didn't really, was trying to get a gift for his girlfriend and ends up getting her stapler. And then she, educates him on the fact that, hey, if you had gone to Plato's Closet, you could have actually bought me something and it's way cheaper and it's high quality. So that was essentially what the first video was about. The second video for part 2, Plato's Closet also wanted to really focus on after Christmas, because there's a lot of people who end up wanting to take their Christmas presents to actually sell to Plato's Closet. So the second skit that we did was really focused on, you know, the girlfriend actually catching the boyfriend and each other at Plato's Closet selling the products that they'd each gotten for each other. So that was one of the first experience I had, you know, working with the brand and really understanding, like, how do I take my platform of comedy, take my platform of my users, and actually create content around that. The other thing here was with Coco Foods International. So this was a brand that came to me for my YouTube channel. And as you can see here, and the idea with their brand was I put it in our channel as a product that I always wanted. So meaning I was always snatching it from a friend, or friends were always trying to take it from me, and essentially creating its own character within our show. So as you can see here on the top, this video ended up getting 680,000 views, which in the beginning to here, we're talking about that brand, and just imagine the type of awareness that they're getting. You can see here on the bottom left of this video here, once again, it's another one of those things, my friends trying to take my Coco Foods, and I'm there always trying to grab it. So through that, we ended up resulting in having 9 different videos that were shot throughout a span of 2 months. We had over 3 million impressions, over 1.7 million in videos and views, and increased their website traffic by 1.4 steadily throughout those whole 2 months. Now, through that, what that really got me going is understanding, okay, this is what it was like working as an influencer. So through that, what that did is then lead me to starting Sasani. So essentially, Sasani has started off as a digital marketing agency. We were running advertisements for e-commerce brands, Facebook ads, Instagram ads specifically, and really understanding the brand side. So actually getting to work with clients on the brand side and essentially what it is that they need. Now, obviously, through of what happened with Corona, it really opened up the true opportunity of where influencer marketing was going. So in this March, we actually introduced our influencer marketing division of our agency. That way, not only are we here managing the talent and the influencer aspect, but also we're also running the back-end advertisements, meaning doing the influencer marketing, content creation, paid advertisement, and even global market penetration. We focus primarily on Gen Z and young millennials. However, a lot of the tactics I'm going to give you today really work for any audience set that your business is targeting. It's just a matter of the messaging. Currently, our influencer network has 38 million in follower reach. We're primarily in the United States. However, we do have networks in Nigeria and as well as South Africa. And something that we're super excited to work on, I can't tell you much, but what I can show you right now is our Sasani Connect software that we've been developing. Essentially, we've been tracking over 50,000 users, and just out of those users, only 800 of those even qualify to actually match for the type of influencers that we go for, totaling over 300,000 data points that we have about these users. And essentially what this software is allowing us to do is to understand trend tracking. It also helps us with scouting and sourcing out different influencers, depending if a brand needs to go beyond just our influencer network and they want new influencers. And the fact that this software is what we're using to essentially manage all of these influencer campaigns. And essentially, if you think about it, when you're working with, 20, 30 influencers, it can definitely get overwhelming. So actually having a software that tracks that has been a game changer for us. And let me see here. Let me see if I can see the chat. So these are some of the highlights of the brand clients we've gotten to work with. And essentially these have happened all primarily since March. Wink app, which essentially like Tinder for friends. In the Gen Zs is a very interesting market, right? They're a group of people who essentially are starting to use technology to connect in relationships. So we've had a lot of things with Wink app, Big O Live app. Sotero is a candle app. Bloom is a sock company. We also have LMK. Truff's Hot Sauce was one of our highlights that we've had, and everything like that. And as well as Life Protection, which is a local company here in Atlanta that we use some of our influencers. So I'm going to go through 3 influencers that we currently work with or in our network, that just some quick highlights. So HB King, he is one that we are currently going through a massive rollout right now. He has a total of 2.4 million follower network on all his platforms. He's known for his phrase, "Do you know your Megan baby?" which essentially has generated over 40 million views overall on TikTok, with other people reusing his hashtag. He's worked with brands such as 12 Hot Sauce, LMK, Lifeline, Big O Music Makers, and he's really a personality and musician. Now, the second person I want to give a highlight to is Josh. Now, Josh Too Funny is someone who's located in Nigeria, and some of you might know this, but there is a trend that went around called Don't Leave Me Challenge, which generated over 5 billion views worldwide, reach, Nigeria-based, and currently, as an influencer, he's actually introducing his own crypto coin, and he's an actor, musician, and businessman. And the one we have here on the right is actually someone that we recently have started to work with, is Blueprint. Now, he has over 7.1 million follower network, and he's known for his out-of-the-world dance moves. Like, he does some of this stuff. I can't even do it. You know, I'll leave the creation to them. But essentially, he's someone who shows the example of someone who got known for dancing and now is currently going through a pivot as he starts to enter the music industry. And what's really exciting is the fact that he is signed by a music label, which really allows him to grow his music side tremendously. Now, through this experience, you know, of working with, being an influencer myself, then going all the way to working with brands, running advertisements for them, when we introduced the influencer aspect in March, we noticed that a lot of brands typically are used to paid advertisement, right? You're going on this platform, you're putting up your content, you hit go, you hit publish, and essentially it's automated for you. But the thing is, what we noticed is when we brought in the influencer aspect, there was really a massive gap that we noticed, and we started wanting to go back to the clients we ran ads for and said, are you interested in working with influencers? And that gap was, the core problem is that brands and influencers are not aware of how to build a sustainable transactional relationship between each other. Meaning, from the brand side, when it comes to numbers, when it comes to objectives, right, when it comes to running everything, compared to a creator side where, hey, I'm just here to have fun. I'm just here trying to, you know, build myself as an artist, as a creator, and really being able to mesh those two things together was essentially the core thing that we're always working on with our software, with our services when we work with our clients, both from the brand side as well from the creator side. So really the core idea of today's presentation is going to be really focusing on this. I'll go through, obviously give you the general stats of influencer marketing, and then I'll kind of go through that. But then really the core of what we're going to be focusing on is how can you actually develop that relationship? And at the end of the day, even though it is a sustainable transactional relationship, it can't all be done without it being a relationship. And that's something that we've really focused our key focus on. So just some fun facts here. The fact that 10 years ago, internet media had accounted for only 15% of ad spend. That's any type of online digital marketing. And the fact that 92% of Instagram users say they followed a brand, clicked on their website, and made a purchase after seeing a product or service on the platform. Just showing you how powerful social media is. And obviously this is a social media conference, so you all know this. And then here's a really fun thing that we like to see from the digital world. So you see here the different facets of advertising, but you can see just how paid search advertising and social media advertisement have surpassed print advertisement. And essentially I'm putting down an X here just because, as you see, everything is going digital. And the next thing that's going to be hindered drastically is going to be TV advertisement, as online advertisements keeps increasing. And especially when you see things like OTT, for example, that's also on a major rise and really going away from TV to everything going to digital. Which leads on to the next thing, which is influencer marketing as an industry. The fact that in 2016, it was only a 1.7 billion, and now it's projected to be at 15 billion by 2022, just shows you the massive, massive growth. And keep in mind, these were stats, especially that we had pulled during the beginning of COVID. So just imagine how much of a trajectory this is actually going to have because of COVID, and how everyone is going and moving to a digital aspect. Now, this to us, the fact that right now still only 7% of online marketing just shows you the core potential that there is in this area. Now, I'm going to just focus on these three key things. The first thing is that typically on average, top performing businesses are making anywhere from $5.78 for every $1 spent on influencers, which some of the top 13 brands that can really do massive execution are making $20 or more per that dollar. And you ask yourself, okay, how is this even possible? And this is the fact that when you can think of influencer marketing, is how powerful of a direct message that it really is to someone that people really trust. And an opportunity that we saw from this was the fact that only 28% out of 192 agencies that surveyed had not even tested their influencer content to see how it performs on other platforms. Meaning a lot of these people are going about, doing influencer marketing, but they're not taking the content that they've, gotten from those campaigns to recycle for other advertising aspects. To us, this brought us the other opportunity for why it is we also then focus on content creation. And then the third opportunity out of all this is the fact that with the COVID effect, there is a 62% of more people are shopping online because of COVID. And obviously this is something that even data doesn't need to tell us, right? We're literally living through it right now. I mean, it's been since March, including the buying behaviors, even for myself, the fact that I've never used Instacart or any of those, shipped like grocery delivery services. And since COVID, I've used that more than I thought I ever would. I've been online more, and obviously as you can tell, being at home, if you have kids and everything, just a massive increase of people being online, just going full tech and virtual, which obviously has its benefits and as well as its cons as well too. Now, the idea is, what is influencer marketing at the end of the day? At the end of the day, influencer marketing is accelerated word of mouth. Right? Meaning the idea of it is the fact that if I'm someone who had been following someone for a few months or even a few years, this is someone that every time I go on my Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, it's someone that I'm always expecting to see. There's something about that quote unquote influencer, and the reason I follow them as an audience member is the fact that I relate to them in a way. And when you really think about this with online and networks, social media allows you to really create your own communities and essentially block out ones that you don't want to be a part of, which means that these influencers have super niche audiences that are waiting for that influencer to educate them on their life, educate them on content, either informational, entertainment, and even educate them on what products and brands do they use on a day-to-day basis. So when you think of influencer marketing, a lot of people tend to think of, the massive ones like Kim Kardashian, right? You think of like those super mega ones, but the fact that now with digital marketing, you now can have your own mini Kim Kardashian, and the fact that you have these kids, as you probably know, with if you have any kids, there are middle schoolers that are popping out with millions of followers. The highest paid YouTuber was he's 7 years old, Ryan. He made $26 million last year off of YouTube. That just shows you the mass potential of now, not only, all these class A celebrities, these celebrities now reachable, but now you have the actual potential to grab your own mini celebrities that you can use for your own campaigns and to really increase that accelerated word of mouth. Now, what we're gonna focus on the first section is really what matters more than anything else, and that is you have to understand the influencer, really for you to be able to really capitalize on this, and not just from like a platform perspective where you use ads, right? It's pretty easy to understand, algorithms and really understand how to, maximize the data. But when you're dealing with influencers, you have to realize that they are humans first, then they are influencers. So really understanding that in any campaign that you do, each influencer is an individual human who has individual feelings, different background, different story, it doesn't matter. So you really have to understand that when you're going about creating these relationships, you can't cookie cutter everything. And especially from an influencer perspective, they can feel that. You never want a person to just feel like they're another number. You want to, in a way, create this effective, efficient, customizable experience for each influencer that you're able to still really be efficient and cost effective while you're doing the entire thing. So if there's one thing I would say out of this whole conversation is if you can truly understand how can I connect with this influence on a human level as a brand that allows you to essentially create a long life relationship with them. And at the end of the day, with any campaign that we do or any influencer that we sign on into our network, we're always thinking, how can we keep this influencer as a client 50 years from now, right? So when you come in that mentality as a brand and you can actually hook on to these influencers and have that personal connection, they're then gonna do really fully understand your brand, one, and then two, when they're creating content for you, you can see that it's more genuine and they're actually willing to work with you long-term. And how really you do that, and how, once you understand that, the next part of that is this, and that is you have to become part of your community's culture, okay? And I'm gonna start off with some examples that we all know. Beats by Dre. Beats by Dre grew massively to the point where Dr. Dre ended up selling it to Apple. But the fact that this whole brand was an influencer grown brand, right? They placed all their headphones in all musicians' music videos, to the point where other musicians were just placing it in there because it became, quote unquote, the thing to do, right? It really focused on being part of the culture. Same thing with Sprite. They do a phenomenal job working with artists, working with musicians to really tie in for the community aspect. And the idea is the fact that they have allowed the creators as humans to really lead that for them. And they're just going in as to really help with the culture. And really, in a way, your goal as a brand working with any influencer isn't just okay, we're using them to get more traffic to our site, to get more purchases, but it's more of how can we put a spotlight on what they're doing, and how can we take those future trendsetters and give them a platform so that we're actually part of that culture and that shift. Same thing with Nike. When you think of Nike, you think of, you know, the athletes, the LeBrons, the Tiger Woods, as have you, and it keeps going. And now over here on the right, I want to show you is some of the people and the brands that are doing a phenomenal job with influencer marketing currently. And I'm just going to kind of walk through what that looks like. So for the first one is Crocs. Now, I remember Crocs, I think it was in middle school, high school. I remember I had a pair of Crocs once. And to be honest, as I grew older, I kind of started like forgetting about them in a way. But recently in this year, I've been seeing Crocs everywhere. Now, Crocs does a phenomenal job of integrating, you know, going into the culture and really being part of that influencer's culture and just culture in general. As you see here on the left, they're doing partnerships all the time. They're always constantly using their little pin things as essentially ways to integrate into other influencers' communities. As for example, they did a collaboration with Justin Bieber. And essentially the idea was this yellow Croc and then these little pins that you put on that are all themed around Justin Bieber. Here you see on the right, we have Bad Bunny. It was another collaboration that Crocs had done with Bad Bunny, and he's a Latin artist. And essentially, this was during while he was actually doing a rollout. And as you can see here, there's all these different pins, Bad Bunny pins that you could get. And the fact that they're doing these ways of incorporating themselves into culture with using influencers as that front line. Here is another example of a brand called Rap Snacks. Rap Snacks, exactly what it is, Rap Snacks. I mean, like, they're essentially putting, and they started with using a lot of well-known people, Kanye, Jay-Z, and the list goes on with current people such as Lil Baby, for example. They just introduced his chip line a couple of weeks ago. And now they're even going to the popular brand Slutty Vegan, that now they're doing a collaboration with them. So what's amazing about this is the fact that this is a recent one. This just happened 2 days ago with Slutty Vegan. So you can see that they started originally. Okay, so that was made by Dogface, that video. And that video sprung a massive influencer like results from that. The fact that Fleetwood Mac's song that was already a pretty old song ended up hitting 8.47 million times in just 1 week in the US. Okay, and the fact that now it's starting to hit back to top one again in the charts just shows you how effective influencer marketing is. And the fact that this wasn't even anything planned. This was something that Dogface was just having a good time doing this video. people latched onto it. They ended up, it ended up going viral. Fleetwood took a part of it, and even the CEO of Ocean Spray's Cranberry also took a part of it. So then the fact that this simple, genuine, organic video sprung into such a massive movement, to the fact that you see here on the right, that even this company here called Taco Pelayas ended up partnering up with Dogface to have him do the exact same video thing and essentially promote their taco and hot sauce business. And the reason why I really want to show this, and I actually just added this last night, was just to show you of how this is happening in real time. And just to show you how much influencer marketing can literally change not only an influencer, but even you as a brand overnight in a way. And essentially, that's essentially what we're here to do as, you as a brand, you or whenever you're working with an agency. Now, the thing that you need to understand about influencers is that their personality and community has to match your target demographic. 2, influencers know how to connect with their audience better than you do. And that's one that we've noticed with brands, working with them, especially when you're transitioning from someone who's so used to always running ads or so used to such a very systematic tech base. When you incorporate influencers, they are the professionals when it comes to their actual brand, right? To their actual community, because they're literally posting massive amounts of content on a daily basis. So they understand what makes their community tick, what are the things that they want to see, what things about what they do goes viral compared to the things that don't go viral. So really the idea of this facet is just really understanding that influencers are highly in touch to their audience's feelings towards them. So it's a real personal thing, right? And it's interesting for us when we're working with influencers, because obviously there's one facet, okay, like these are objectives, but really the influencer knows the best way how to communicate that, right? When it comes to how am I actually going to portray that to my audience to actually get them to do that? And something that I'll talk about in this as well is essentially how to go about effectively sourcing influencers and how you can actually maximize that whole process. So that way, so that way you can allow an influencer to really be themselves and shine, while you as a brand are still being able to actually get that ROI and those results that you're looking for. And the next thing about understanding influencers is that there are different classes. Now, for us as an agency, we typically focus on class A, Bs, and Cs. Now, some of you might see this from the macros, micro, nano influencers. And for us, at our actual strategy, we don't even necessarily even tackle from the nano or micro side. But essentially, when you think of class A influencers, they are the trendsetters. They are you can say the dog faces. They are the accounts that typically on average are a 2+ mil follower reach. They are the ones, but when we say trendsetters, meaning that there are influencers that are smaller than them, that look up to them on a daily basis to say, okay, if Charli D'Amelio is doing these songs or doing these videos, then me as a smaller influencer should be doing that same thing too. Typically, these class A influencers will have an average video reach of 300,000. And all across the board, all influencers, the ones you should be going for should have a 4 to 8.3+% engagement rate. And the main thing about class A's is that they understand what they want and know their audience the best out of any other class. Because the idea of actually getting a full network all the way up to 2 million, and you as an individual being able to really sustain those relationships is something that really class A's do a phenomenal job at, which really puts them in that trendsetter stage. Class B, really now you're looking at an average 600,000 to 1.5 million. And essentially on average for them, video reach is 200,000 per video. The engagement is the same. But the thing is with class Bs, and this is where a lot of brands do tackle this scale, you could say, they're getting flooded on a day-to-day basis with inquiries. And for them, they're at that stage where it's starting to become hard for them to manage. Now, like for them to manage their emails. Now, why is this important for you as a brand? This is important for you because it really comes down to your approach that you're going to be taking on these influencers. By you understanding what stage that they're at, what they feel and value about themselves, it gives you a better understanding for really how to go about approaching them. which also leads into Class Cs. Now, essentially, Class Cs, they're the ones that are just really getting the ball going, because especially nowadays, there are middle schoolers that are popping up left and right with millions, 200,000, right? There's someone that can go over that are essentially going overnight, becoming viral. So we've essentially increased our minimum to 100,000 followers, because the fact that this market and influencer marketing is becoming such a, you could say, gold rush, that you as a brand now should be looking at 100K or up, because there's so many people. That idea of going for the lower end is still possible. However, now you're going to be doing a lot more labor, a lot more time to really get to those people that are less than 100K. But the main thing with Class C is that they're still getting brand sponsorships, but overall, they're just less experienced when it comes to campaigns. And this is just in a way across the board until really you get to Class A's. Most Class A's are either going to be signed to an agency like us, or they're going to have management. So overall with Class A's, they're just a way better experience to work with, right? They're way more professional. They have their things, their ducks in a row. Now, typically Class B's will also be signed to an agencies. However, overall, they're like in the process of getting into brand deals. So typically when you're dealing with them, once again, just understanding that their inboxes are full. So how are you going to come in as a brand to really create that human connection with them? And for Class C's, just again, like I said, that's the smaller tier aspect of it. Now, the next thing we'll talk about is the payment structure. So for you to really understand influencers, you have to understand there's basically two forms of payment structures when you're working with an influencer. There's affiliate marketing, then there's paid per post. Affiliate marketing, you've probably seen this a lot, especially the brands that are doing it. And now even Amazon has gotten even more and more of a push. They've been doing it for a few years, more on the B2B side, but now they're starting to do more heavy on the younger influencer base. But essentially affiliate marketing is, hey influencer, I'm going to send you product. I'm going to give you a link. And if you're going to post about it and however much sales that you make, we will then share revenue off of that. So essentially it's a commission-based model. The paid per post model is essentially going, hey influencer, I love what you're doing. I want to pay you to post. So the idea now, it's more of a negotiation. We're going to create that negotiation, actually have payment up front and then post. Now, what I want to break down is essentially the different facets and the different strategy points. If you're going to go to affiliate marketing, typically that's more of a guerrilla marketing approach. You're reaching out to a lot more people. Typically that's going to be Class C's, love that. And essentially in a way, they're also in a way still trying to understand and get in the industry. So for them, it allows them to really get their resume going with working with brands. Some Class B's will do it, but however, you have to understand the higher you get in the classes, the more brands are coming for that direct. And essentially the main thing about affiliate marketing that you have to understand is that you're putting it in the hands of the influencer. Meaning that essentially because they're not being paid up front, you're essentially sending all these links, sending all these products, and you're putting more time on them to see when essentially they want to do it. That's what we've noticed in the affiliate marketing realm, is you have less control. The other thing is about affiliate marketing, especially if you want to generate a massive amount of free content, not free content because you're still sending products, but if you focus on Class C's, especially, that allows you to get product out and to essentially get these affiliate posts going, but then you get a lot more content that's generated all of it. Essentially, this is also for brands that are looking to test influencers in different communities. So typically this is more for those who are still trying to figure out what their role looks like in the social media world. And typically these brands will be, they'll typically be like more of the independent ones, right? So you might not be working with the agency, but you're like, I want to try this in my company. You're going to be going with this area. This is one option. However, knowing that if you do go with affiliate marketing, you're going to, typically it's a lower budget for people who have lower marketing budgets. And two, is going to be a lot more labor time. It's a lot more following up. It's a lot more, okay, we reached out to these people. We sent these products. Okay, we have to follow up with them. Are they going to post? And really overall, you just don't have as much control in influencer marketing compared to a paid for post. When we look at the paid for post model, really what you're trying to do isn't really to pay for a post. It's to really get a full longer term relationship with them. I want to pay for for, or I want to pay you monthly. So that way you're essentially posting weekly basis. You want to think of it in a way as running advertisements, right? The same concept. You're having these monthly campaigns generating. Essentially for paid for post, any class works from class A's to class C's, but typically those are going to be more from the class A's and B's with the brands that really understand, like, we know exactly how we work in social media. We know exactly the communities we go for. We've done a really good job sourcing them. So we're going to really take that initiative to pay first. And essentially with the paid for post model, your executions are just a lot more stable, meaning you actually have a lot more control, right? It's a way different transaction when someone's paying for a post compared to just, hey, here's some free product, here's affiliate link. You will make money on commission base. With the pay for post, this is really more of a, you're driving any aspect, either it's awareness, traffic, or conversions. And something I forgot to mention with affiliate marketing is that realm, you're more going to be focused on the conversion objective of any like campaign. That's really what affiliate marketing is. This massive amount that's focused on conversions, while compared to paid for post, you have a more diversity in what type of objective you want to do. I mean, is it awareness? Is it web traffic? Is it conversions? It also has an increased community engaged, meaning that when you're actually doing a pay for post campaign, you're actually working one-on-one with the influencer, which means they're going to understand, and you're going to build a human relationship with them. That's going to become a lot easier for them to really engage their community, because you're actually doing more meetings. You're actually having more of an objective that's going on before you work with them. And for some reason, I felt like I needed to re-say it again and retype it, but I put say stable execution again. But the main thing, like I said, is for brands who understand the audience. And a lot of this, when you think of this, there is pros to cons to both. And really just happens, it really has to do with you as a brand and what you're willing to test. Now, you can always do both affiliate, you can also try paid posts, but really just understanding before you come in and you reach out to an influencer, what is your position and how are you going to do that messaging? Especially in the influencer world, affiliate marketing does work. However, the issue is a lot of brands are doing it. So now it's a lot more competitive facet compared to emailing them, say, hey, we know how your brand's like, we want to work with you. What is your rate? Are there any questions right now before I move forward? Let's see here. Good. Doing good. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to keep moving forward here. So the next thing we're going to talk about is sourcing influencers, right? So the first thing is understanding, okay, influencers are humans as well too. These are the different ways of essentially how you want to pay them, either from affiliate base or from a pay for post base. Now it's actually, how are we going to get these influencers into our campaign? This is the general ecosystem, you can say, that it looks like when it comes to your brand. In the middle is your brand. You have all these different platforms that you can use. And yes, I didn't include Facebook. However, for us, we haven't seen much great results off of Facebook when it comes to influencer marketing compared to these other platforms. But essentially, the influencer is the biggest type of account that you want to go for. You also have the hot news accounts. Essentially, it's an independent person who is always posting news about that topic or the industry that you're trying to tackle. You have industry authorities that can also help too. That specifically will be more for B2B influencer marketing. You have micro accounts, or in our way would say the smaller tiers of the class C's. You have reaction channels. These are awesome if you want to do product reviews, if you want them to essentially experience your product. And typically for that, you're going to be more on YouTube for that. And it's a little bit more coming towards TikTok as well too, but YouTube is still the dominating one when it comes to any type of product review or reaction video, and meme pages. What's interesting is a lot of people surpass meme pages and don't realize they're actually pretty influential. Some of the, I guess, modern day meme pages that you can think of are like BuzzFeed, for example. The idea of just, regurgitating a lot of culture-based content. An idea of that is BuzzFeed. If you take a look at some brands, they've actually pushed more of the meme model. When you look at Chipotle, for example, their entire branding has been more towards memes. And the good thing about memes is a way to relate with your audience and really hit culture in a different way. It shows your audience that you are up to date on what's going on. The main thing about meme pages is that they have to be recent in the topics that are being used to create that content. And it's an easy way for you to get into your community, your audience, your target customers community, and really be part of that culture and lead movements through memes. But really the core thing of this I want to show you is it's a massive ecosystem, just like paid advertisement, just like any other facet, but this is through human accounts. So when you're identifying your ideal influencer, the thing is, massive following does not always equal massive results. Not all influencers are going to fit your brand. So meaning we've had situations when we've talked with brands this year where they've been like, you know, we tried influencer marketing and if you just didn't get the result we wanted, there was this person that I really liked. So typically like the decision maker, you know, marketing director is like, oh, I love this person. I've been following them for a while. Let's try them. They have a massive following. However, you end up realizing that, okay, some of these aren't as effective, being that the fact you have to keep in mind specific things. And that is 1, the personality of that person, 2, their demographic reach, 3, their social media behaviors, meaning how much are they posting? You want to work with influencers that are consistently posting. There's sometimes when influencers, especially when they're going through phases of not being as active, you always want to hit influencers and work with them when they're being consistent and and their social media behavior is constantly daily. And overall, just what is the image that they're portraying, and does that specific audience base? So scouting tactics. So typically when you're scouting and you're looking at these different platforms, the first thing you can think of is location-based. And the thing is, what's actually interesting about this is a lot of people think influencer marketing, yes, the mass majority of it is going to be for online marketing, online sales, but you can still do a pretty location-based marketing strategy. And you can do this by searching location tags on the different platforms. You can do this by essentially looking at your local community key, I guess, influencer hubs. When you think of places like the college bases, if you're more of like a local business and you're trying to do like a social local influencer campaign, you can also take a look at hashtags and certain things that fit with the type of audience you're going for, going through those hashtags and actually finding people with massive followings for you to reach out to. Facebook groups, believe it or not, is actually a massive, massive one. If you search things such as, you know, TikTok influencers, Instagram influencers, whatever platform you're going for, there's a lot of these Facebook groups that are being created for essentially, typically is going to be for the class Bs. The class Bs are the ones that are starting to get those brands, and some of the creators are like, you know what, I'm gonna go join a Facebook group to help me find different brand partnership opportunities. So Facebook groups work really well as well too. Another thing you want to take a look at is sourcing platforms. So like actual platforms that actually do a lot of sourcing. However, with that, when you look at those online websites that, you know, say, hey, check here and here, a lot of their users aren't as active as they should be. However, TikTok does have their own marketplace. So that's really the first platform so far that's really done a really great rollout and working with their influencers for a marketplace. So if you're a brand that wants to look at that aspect, there's also related accounts. So once you found influencers that you like and they're working really well, you can look at their related accounts as well too. And those are going to be the same influencers with the same type of audience base and as well as the overall same type of performance. And of course, I have to say, sourcing with an influencer agency like ourselves to actually help you with that entire process to be able to do that. But the goal of this is to really show you the different ways that you can go about and do that. So when you're doing an outreach message, it's really about specific key things you want to get. And that is letting the influencer know what is your brand's mission and the product that you want them to use. They need to understand like what it is, like, do I even like this product? 2, you always want to let them know you're trying to go for a long-term partnership. So even if it's affiliate, even paid for posts, you want to let them know, hey, we're trying to figure out a way to work with you long-term. You also want to understand and let them know this is our brand's audience that we're going for. That way they know. You also want to be able to request their statistics. And believe it or not, that's a common thing. Just saying, hey, can you please send us your screenshots of your last 7 days, of your demographics, of your story results, or whatever it is that you're looking for in terms of that specific objective. You also have the facet of timeline, letting them know in terms of when you want this. Understanding influencers are constantly planning content, so you want to be able to give them a heads up of when you want them to actually be a part of this. Typically, we give our influencers 1 to 2 week notice, being that we're also obviously scheduling content and scheduling brands posts for them. Also understanding content rights. So this is more of a back end thing, but always making sure that, you know, once you get that content, that's something as you as a brand you actually own, so that way you can recycle it and use it on your other platforms. And just straight up saying, what is your rate and is it negotiable? This is probably the best way, honestly, to start, because it also shows the influencer that you respect them as a platform, that you understand that they're also a business, and you're willing to work with them and be negotiable. The negotiable, keyword negotiable, is how you can essentially get a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month campaign with them, and a more for ambassadorship to create a relationship. And once you've actually worked with them, typically ask, hey, are there any other friends that you recommend? And you'd be surprised at how much of a network your brand can get access to. And the idea of this is you want to become a brand like Breeze by Dre or Fashion Nova or Gymshark or Rap Snacks, where influencers are going out of the way to want to be like, hey, I want to be sponsored by this brand because they treat our influencers well. So this is a simple database that if you're someone who's interested in this, after this, I can send you this, but it's essentially how we use money.com for this, and also our Sasani Connect software. However, it's not public yet. However, this spreadsheet right here, if you're like, I just want to start out, I'm not trying to necessarily invest all this crazy money in softwares and platforms, how can I simply manage? This spreadsheet will do the job for you. Essentially, this allows you to keep a status of each influencer. Have you reached out? Have they confirmed? Did you send the product? Did you approve their content? And is it posted? This allows you to essentially put here your budget here on the left and essentially organize all your different influencers, how much cost they're looking in terms of from their TikTok, their Instagram, what is their reach on all these different platforms. And it's essentially this table that you can use, super easy to use, and essentially organize a influencer campaign quite easily, being that you're dealing with a lot of different people. Any questions here? Perfect, good. And obviously you can also ask more questions afterwards. So the next thing here is maximizing your influencer campaigns. This is how it goes beyond just the post. Now it's actually how are you going to keep that data, right? That's a lot of data you're getting to. How are you actually getting the ROI you're looking for? Awareness, traffic, conversions. And essentially the first thing is a pre-campaign analysis. So you would be surprised at how many brands will pay tremendous amounts of money on influencer marketing, however, not even have their data tracking installed, Google Tag, Facebook Pixel, TikTok Pixel. It's so important for you to have the backend analytics, because that data that you're getting into your website is completely new ad sets, high tier warm ad sets that you want to be able to track and understand the behavior. 2, you want to always make sure you turn off all your current paid ads that aren't part of this campaign. That way you can actually see the results that this is bringing to your business. Other thing is content, meaning what form of content do you need? Is it more information like product reviews? Do you just want more engaging, entertaining type of content like dog face, right? You know, like that type of content was more viral based, but people know your brand and they want to be a part of it? Or is it social proof and you're looking to just get a lot of different classes to, you know, give a review on it? And of course, understanding where is your current website traffic at and your current conversions before you start. Then conversion trackers. So let's say you're looking at, this is one of the brands that we'd worked with, Truff Hot Sauce. Essentially, let's say you're looking at, okay, how can I actually track what each individual influencer is doing for our business? The first way is follower growth. So this is typically going to be more of an Instagram model. This is typically for brands that essentially want to gain more followers, gain more data to their platforms, and as well as traffic to their site. So typically you will do a timeline of 24 to 72 hours after the post has been posted. And essentially during that time frame, you're seeing And when you do this, you also want to make sure you're doing one influencer at a time. So you stagger them every, 2, 3, 4 days, and then do another influencer. And that way you can see how much followers is that gaining for your actual Instagram. And then you're actually then able to take all those followers, those new followers, and engage them and upsell them. Another way is a promo code, essentially saying, promo code this, go check it out. However, with promo codes, it definitely is something we've noticed that people do use promo codes. However, it's interesting when we do this, some people don't even use the promo code, but they still end up purchasing because of it. So what we've noticed a way is typically what you also want to look at when you do promo codes is actually your organic searches, right? Where we've noticed where people, our influencers will post a promo code and the brand will get an increase of traffic and sales where some of the actual conversions aren't just coming because of the promo code, but actually coming from people searching for their actual brand, right? And that is typically new increased traffic. So promo codes do work. However, the most effective way is going to be two things. One, unique links. So giving each influencer their own unique link. An easy way to do it is like Bitly, for example, that aspect, but something that you can actually track, okay, how many clicks are coming from each influencer's link. The other way you can do it is a landing page. So essentially setting up a landing page with that specific influencer. That way you can actually track how much traffic did come to ASpeakKing's specific landing page before they moved on to our other website as well too. So these are essentially the ways that you can track that actual, how effective each individual influencer is being. Other thing is campaign activation. So once you start, you want to engage, right? So let's say you're doing the Instagram follower aspect. You want to be able to, once you get that massive traffic to your Instagram, create polls, right? So let's say you are a candle company that's focused on stress and insomnia. You might make polls that say, how are you feeling today? Super, and then the answers could be super stressed, I'm feeling better, I'm feeling energetic. And the idea, right, is the moment you get all that traffic to your Instagram and people are following you, have different polls set up. So as people are engaging, essentially they're giving you permission to reach out to them to engage. So essentially that's you sending out a promo code and essentially rewarding those people that didn't necessarily go all the way to your site. However, they engaged with your platforms. Other thing is what's really specific is retargeting campaigns, super crucial. When you get all that traffic, the fact that typically, if I'm gonna go to your website, I'm gonna necessarily buy the first time. However, I now know your brand. I know that that influencer brought me to your brand. So you want to be able to take that content that the influencer made and create retargeting campaigns, right? So this is the only type of paid advertising you should do. Should be retargeting campaigns that are retargeting the users that the specific influencer brought, and use that content the influencer made to retarget those people. That's how you can essentially get more of a ROI from your campaigns. And essentially, once you do that, you want to then be able to identify the highest impact influencers. Then you want to identify, okay, who are the related accounts of those specific influencers? So now you go back into sourcing mode. You first start out by asking those influencers, are there any friends that you recommend, or even better, then you go on those specific accounts, see what accounts are related, and start to pull those. And that's essentially how you go about scouting and sourcing new influencers. Then here's an example. So on top of us not only doing this for brands, we are actually doing this for our own influencers. So ASpeakKing, again, he's known for the viral trend, do you know your Megan baby? So because of this, by the way, he just reached 100K subscribers this morning. But because he was known for this phrase, we were like, okay, let's test this out in-house at Sasani. So we essentially had him create a Megan baby song that got 193,000 views within just 1 month. Then we created a Megan baby music video that we released 3 days ago that has 52,000 views, right? We're just going off of that influencer brand. His phrase was so great that Megan Thee Stallion even found out about the phrase because it's about her, and now she even uses as well too. As you can see here on the bottom right, his phrase has had 46.8 million views on TikTok. So different people that are using his phrase. So because of this, right, it all comes down to bottom line. So he's known for this Megan baby thing. We're like, okay, we're moving his audience over to different channels and creating more content around Megan baby. Once we did that, we then also introduced our Sasani Hive merch store. So not only are we now, creating this content for our influencers, but we're also managing his own merch store, which we manage, meaning here we created it on SasaniHive.com, where each of our creators have their own merch store. Here we're able to take what they're known for, create merchandise, and essentially here you have is our Hive store. So Ace is the first influencer that we did this rollout for. So not only is he going viral, right? We're then on top of that managing from the back end his data. So we're literally having this campaign go, and then we on top of that having merch allows us as an agency. So when brands work with us, now they can go, okay, how do we know that Ace is effective? Well, in the back end, we're doing everything from the content creation all the way to the ads management.